Can you actually bring ghosts into your house? It's long been believed that some ghosts are attached to furniture. But what happens when the artifact you bring home is from a cemetery? Roxanne Wentworth of Wappingers Falls, New York, brought home a beautiful pair of iron gates that were being discarded by her local cemetery and discovered a terrifying secret.
It was very strange how we came to get the cemetery gates, because we were putting flowers on the grave for an anniversary of someone before their family arrived. And we wanted the flowers there, and we went to the back of the cemetery and around that way to get to the gravesite. And there were these big old iron gates I hadn't seen in maybe 20, 30 years. So I left a note on the maintenance shed for someone to please call me in regard to the gates. It started snowing really hard, but 2 hours later on that Sunday morning, I had a phone call, come and get the gates, they're yours.
We're now standing at the actual site of the cemetery gates, which are in front of the driveway. When I'm standing in this direction, I'm getting 0.1, 0.2, but if I just turn 90 degrees, I'm up to 1.7, which is one of the highest, 1.8, one of the highest readings we've gotten tonight, 1.9, 2, 2.1. So here I am almost directly between the gates, and there seems to be an energy pattern going between the gates up the driveway. The farther I move in towards the driveway past the gates, 1.4, 1.3, 1. So you can see I'm just beyond the level of the gates now, about 0.8, and I know the farther I move up the driveway, the lower the readings will be. So for some reason, there is a strong, measurable electromagnetic field between these gates, like an energy field moving in towards the property.
The gates were delivered right outside my front door. I had a handyman bring them, and he just put them right in the yard outside the front door until I could hire someone to install them. That night, when I was upstairs, I heard somebody coming up my stairs. It was very, very loud squeaking on my stairways. And I thought I had a burglar. I was convinced. My bedroom door was shut and the night light was on, but I was so terror-stricken, I couldn't move, I couldn't speak, I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. I just knew that when that door opened, something really bad was going to happen. After the noise stopped, going up the stairs, nothing happened. The door didn't open, I didn't hear any more feet, nothing. But within maybe 30 seconds, now something had me by the back of the hair and was dragging me backwards off the bed. I couldn't speak, but in my mind, I was yelling, let go, let go, let go, and it wouldn't. So I forced my head to turn, and when I eliminated space between his hand and the bed pillow, it couldn't exist anymore, and it went away. There was nothing in the room, and the door was still shut.
From the Wappingers Rural Cemetery delivered a few years ago, and that night she had told us that she was grabbed by the hair and dragged across the bed by somebody that she couldn't see. And I knew from what she said she wouldn't be able to stay here at night anymore, so I ended up spending the nights with her.
I'm not going to remove the gates. I've been asked why I don't do that. A lot of people think that if I remove the gates, I remove the problem. But no one's been able to validate that for me or prove to me that that would eliminate the problem, that the pathway wouldn't still remain. And that if the pathway did still remain, if I might experience some angry spirits because I had the gates removed. So I honor the gates.
I think bringing the portal between the living and the dead to your front yard is an invitation to these spirits. And obviously, as the activity began that very night, it has become an opening to the spirit world.
At one time, we had some investigators come in the beginning when these kind of things were happening. And we noticed that they were using simple handheld tape recorders, speaking to whatever spirits were out there. And then when they would play them back later, there would be voice in between our voice. And so we went out and got handheld tape recorders and started recording ourselves.
I'd go out there with a handheld audio recorder, and I'd ask them, what's your name? And I'd talk to them like I'd be talking to anyone who would be sitting down talking to next to me. And when I'd come inside, I'd rewind the tape and I'd play it back, and you'd be able to hear their voice.
EVPs are electronic voice phenomena, where tape recordings are played back to see if there are any sounds that the human ear did not pick up. Sometimes they are put through computers and enhanced. Other times, if you're lucky, you get clear voices and sounds just on the tape, unenhanced.
In this particular voice, I believe to be a woman saying, "We're women." I also got a little child saying, "I came out of the coffin."
We seem to notice an awful lot of activity around a mulberry tree that we have in the backyard. When we use our recorders and hold them up in the air, we get a lot of children up in that tree that are answering us or making comments, like they're looking up at us or they're giving us their names. Dennis, for instance. We also have gotten ectoplasm, which is what we believe to be the spirit pulling its energy together and then coming out of that orb into kind of what we call a sloppy Casper. Very active tree.
After the break, hunting for evidence of paranormal activity.
What I'm doing is recording on an audio cassette tape, standard audio cassette tape, to try to get voice of people from beyond. And I'm using a digital camera from time to time to click pictures to see if there's anyone in the yard with us.
Just a bit of a spike right here. Lori, do you want to take a picture over here? I just got a spike. The EMF meter measures electromagnetic fields, and for whatever reason, when apparitions are around, you get measurable electromagnetic fields, and this meter is sensitive enough to pick those fields up. So what I try to do is walk slowly back and forth across the grounds and see if we do get any spikes, and we just had one or two little spikes. Generally, if there's a spirit in a locked location, you will get consistent readings for that spot, but this just goes to prove how things move around this area, because I'm getting readings in many different locations coming and going.
I have an orb towards the back.
But 45 right over here, 44, is it behind me? Because now there's a 10-degree difference from about 10 feet to my left to right in front of me. We're at 45. This direction, we're reading 56 degrees, about 10 feet away to my left. But when I just move a few feet over this, 44, 45 degrees. So a 10-degree difference over the span of about 12 feet is rather impressive. Whoa, 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 whoa. We just went up, we just had a big spike right, wow, getting a little chill here. I'm just covered in goosebumps right now. The meter went way up. It went to about 1.2, and the reading should be 0 or 0.1 when we're in an open area such as this. So that was a significant hit. And it was one of those spots when you hit it kind of goes through you, the cold goes through you, and I just, at 1.2 again, and I didn't even move the meter, so there's something going on right here.
We had an incident upstairs in the other bedroom where my daughter went up to get something, and she noticed from her bedroom doorway that her closet door was wide open and that the light was on inside. We never leave that closet open because we have a cat. So Lori went over to her bedside stand and she picked up the tape recorder, which had just become routine for us. Took that over to the closet door and noticed that the suitcase had been placed in the doorway. She turned her recorder on and she explained to anyone that might be listening that she had seen the door open, the light on, and the suitcase in the middle, and was anybody there? Then she paused to give them a chance to respond, and then she told them that they had to please go outside now.
Thank you.
When she played the recording back, after she said, "Is there anyone here?" 2 children answered. One said yes, and one said no.
The recording here a few years back, I was at the mulberry tree in the backyard where we've had some activity. And I asked, "Are you well today, Robert?" Because that's one of the names that we had gotten on the property as being one of the people that's here. And I got the response, "Mrs. Anderson?" The strange thing about that particular voice is when they said Mrs. Anderson and I listened to it on tape, I realized that my mom's last married name was Anderson.
We're in the garage now where I personally have gotten probably the most activity in my investigations at least. First time we were asking for something to make its presence known, and the meter alarm went off, the EMF meter, and we also heard the sounds, something moving around on the walls around us. We're asking that anything that is here give us some sign of your presence. What was that? We see what was over here? Something just dropped. This?
What is it?
Rope? Do you know where this was?
No, but it would have been, up on this shelf is where it would have been. There's no way to hang it over the area where it happened.
All right, so I have the meter set up and I'm just going to see if there's any activity, and I'm also filming in night vision. And we'll see if we get anything. All right, see it's moving slightly. Okay, so it's a much more sensitive meter and it is picking up something. You can hear the sound is increasing, the needle's moving a little more, so there's definitely something right in this area. Can you make a noise like you made last time? Is somebody moving behind the garage here? When we were moving around, did somebody touch my right shoulder? I felt a distinct tap on my right shoulder. I turned around to look to see who was touching my shoulder. It was just one tap on the right shoulder. Getting that crawling skin feeling again. The meter spiked a little. Yeah, the tap on the shoulder definitely got my attention. I'm kind of I'm at full alert here now.
Is anybody sensing or getting a feeling about anything?
The camera just went out. My camera just went dead again. This is the second time tonight. I had a fresh battery in it before and it went out. Okay, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, just as I'm looking at my dead camera, the meter had spiked up to 1.8 and now it's back down to 2, 0.1. So something's happening in this spot.
That was not me.
Was this down here before?
2 big orbs
No, it
above
was
the
not.
detector.
Where was this?
Probably on the shelf.
Well, that's an interesting sign.
Yes, it sure is.
We asked for something to be moved, so you think this is what fell onto the... Can you make the meter Make a sound again.
There's a big orb on the ceiling over by Linda. Linda, you getting any readings over there?
Yeah. Just dropped 6 degrees and then went back up again. Whatever is going on is happening in this few feet here.
I myself didn't really believe in this kind of thing before I started experiencing it for myself, but now that I've actually lived it for a few years, you know, there's no question in my mind that things happen around here. We hear banging on pipes in the basement and, you know, people walking around in a room that neither my mom nor I are in at that time. You know, I go out there and I take pictures and I can capture them on digital camera. And I can, you know, the more I see, the more I know that there's other folks here with us. So I talk to them and I communicate with them and let them know that, you know, we remember them and, you know, we appreciate them being here.
We're hoping that the gates don't just create a way to enter. We're hoping that they might also create an exit.
It could be said that the gates that open onto a cemetery are a metaphorical door between the living and the dead. But have the gates at Roxanne Wentworth's house, gates that stood for almost a century at the local cemetery, become a literal portal for the restless spirits to move between their world and ours? Roxanne and her daughter Lori believe that's exactly what's happening. In the meantime, the haunting continues, and for now, the gates still stand. Coming up next, the eerie apparitions at Chickies Rock, Pennsylvania.